I talk, you listen, or you turn the channel. Either way, I'm still going to talk. Hey, welcome to the show. Let's get right on with it because I've got a 25-minute music clip and a 15-minute credit clip, so we don't have any time to waste. Not really. Wish I could find a 25-minute music clip. That would be great. I don't think they've made the video for In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida yet, but that's only 17 minutes and 23 seconds long or something. Unless it skips a lot on the record. See, young people don't know what that's like to have. Actually, no, DVDs skip. So it doesn't sound as good as when records used to skip, though. Speaking of skipping, Obama's taken his first trip abroad. Not with abroad, just abroad. So I think he left his wife at home. But he took his first foreign trip to Canada for 7 hours. Short trip to Canada. He talked to the Prime Minister. He talked to the opposition leader, or the leader of the opposition party, which I don't know if they've got Democrats or Republicans up there, but apparently he went to the other guy that wasn't the Prime Minister and said, you know, keep open. Maybe you'll get it. But he, of course, he flew up there in Air Force One, all of it, not just a little bit of it, all of it, with his full entourage of presidential stuff. And it's funny because I have Thursdays off, and I don't have to come down to the office except just to get ready for the show. So I'm sitting at home and I'm watching the coverage, and Air Force One lands, and like 20 minutes later, the door opens and Obama comes down the steps there and shakes all the hands. And then it was like 45 minutes to an hour before they broke in again and showed the motorcade leaving the airport to go to the Parliament building. Apparently the president can't get through the airports any faster than any of us. But what got me is when they showed the motorcade. It's like this rural highway in Canada, and I counted them, 16 vehicles. Everything from big black SUVs to the big black stretch limo that Obama rides in, to like black Cadillacs and black Ford, what's the nice Ford there, the Lincoln Continental or whatever. But all huge cars like that, all with flashing lights. I mean, it was like a parade. And they're flying down the road. And if you're looking for security, don't put on a show like that. Stuff the guy in a minivan, drive him to the Parliament building, and then people would just go, oh, a minivan just passed me, and the guy looked like Obama. And the person that was with him would go, no, Obama wouldn't be in a minivan. It's perfect. You don't use 16 cars, probably topped off at the most expensive gas station in Washington, D.C. before they left. Probably flew those motorcade up there in C-130s or C-5s or C-17s or something, but big planes. But yet Congress has the nerve to ask these banking officials that they're going to bail out, how many of you own a private jetliner? Come on now. That was the whole thing with the auto bailout, remember? How many of you are willing to sell your jetliner and go home on commercial air? And nobody raised their hands. Well, apparently the president won't sell his plane either. I mean, if I was going to Canada, I would drive. It's not that far, really. And if you're only going to be there for 7 hours, they could have taken a helicopter from Washington. But oh no, we've got to go with all the, and 7 hours. What can you do in 7 hours up there that's going to make a difference? Like I said, he saw the prime minister, he saw the leader of the opposition party and probably said, the hope for change or whatever. And then probably start a hockey game and then come home.
Bring back any beer?
He'll write off all the entire trip. And probably the main part of the trip is, well, I feel like going to see, a Toronto Maple Leafs hockey game. So we'll make a big state issue out of it, fly up there, visit the prime minister and the opposition guy while we're there, take in the game, write it all off. Because I'm pretty sure that's the way those guys think. They don't think like me. I believe one of the main reasons he went to talk to the prime minister was the fact that Canada's announced that by 2011 they will be pulling their 15,000 troops out of Afghanistan. Apparently they don't want to play anymore. Meanwhile, it was announced today that Obama's getting ready to send 17,000 more United States troops into Afghanistan here in the spring. I mean, this is the guy that has said, war is not the answer, we need change and blah, 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 and I'm going to get the troops home in 16 months, and, I don't believe in fighting, we should be nice to everybody. One of the first things he does is commits another 17,000 guys. Pretty much, here's your death sentence. Go to Iraq. And the problem is, it's not usually the first time, although it's easier to get killed your first time out because you don't really know what the hell's going on. But the more you go over, the better your chances are. If you don't get killed the first time, you come home and you go, I made it. And the government goes, whoa, wait a minute, you're still alive. You go, yeah, I was lucky. They go, not so much, because you're going back. I mean, you take a guy who's spent, tour of duty is what, a year? Supposedly, is supposed to be a year in country. So you go and you do a year tour in Iraq. They bring you home, and a month later they go, oh, hey, guess what? You just drew a year's duty in Afghanistan. And then you get back from there and you go, oh, geez, we really hate to do this to you. But we've got this new law that says stop loss, and we need you to go back to Iraq. And meanwhile, these guys are going, why don't you pump up recruitment or something? But it's not happening. Because who wants to join the military to go and get shot at?
The way the economy's going right now, they're about the only ones still hiring.
Yeah. You're right. And I mean, it's a guaranteed job until you die. But what happens to your family? As soon as you die, the military is going to go, here's your $20,000 term life insurance, because that's all he was worth. We'll see you later. And once the husband dies, she stops getting the military medical benefits, I believe.
I don't know.
But, I mean, that's what seems like it would be. If you divorce a service member, you lose your benefits. And I believe if the only thing that you've got is your husband is in the service and you're just a dependent, once he dies, legally, all they've got to do is give you his life insurance money. They don't have to care for you and take care of you, let you live in base housing anymore. You know? So, I mean, what happens then? You're pretty much screwed. You have to go out and find a roommate or something. Maybe a chimp, love. Yeah, maybe not. Because this story came right out of Stamford, Connecticut. I mean, that's only a few hours away. A lady was attacked by a chimpanzee, a 20-pound chimp. And I saw a little blip on the news today that said these animal experts say that chimps are 7 times stronger than humans. And chimps are little. I mean, they can't. Apparently, this lady was. I wonder if it doesn't say. It doesn't say in this article, but they were saying that the lady would treated him just like a person, and they would drink wine. They would sit and watch TV and cuddle and drink wine together. That's probably the first problem. She gave a wild animal the alcohol. You know? I mean, if you have a gorilla for a pet, you don't get him hooked on crystal meth or PCP. You know? Because that's just kind of crazy. If anything, you want to give him something to put him to sleep. But no, this lady and the chimp attacked. It wasn't the owner that the chimp attacked. It was a friend of the owner. And apparently they say that, oh, the lady was, did it say she was driving a different car? Yeah, she was driving a different car and wearing a new hairstyle and holding an Elmo stuffed toy in front of her face as a present to the chimp. And apparently the chimp don't care for Elmo. Or maybe he was just pissed because it wasn't like the rockin' Elmo or something, you know, that he was expected, that he had asked for. But the lady is in critical but stable condition. I didn't say what the extent of her injuries were. But injuries to her face and hands. Apparently critical injuries to her face and hands. But look, I believe it was in the 70s, a movie came out called Born Free, where this lady on safari or something got some abandoned tiger cubs or lion cubs. Something, I can't remember now. It was a long time ago. But she took them home and cared for them until they got so big she had finally decided she had to let them go back into the wild. You know? And ever since that movie came out, people just assume that wild animals would be cool pets. And you know, you see, the media doesn't help, because you see like the Steve Irwins of the world. I can't think of any of their names now, but you know, like the Marlon Perkins and the Animal Guys, and they come on to the different shows with all the different, you know, bring out the little things. The people, they work in zoos, and they don't keep these animals at their homes. When they're done showing them off, they take them back and put them in a damn cage. But people think, oh no, you know, it would be so cool to have a tiger as a pet. Yep, that's what Siegfried and Roy thought. Tigers make great pets till they attack you. You know, I mean, a lot of people scream about the pit bulls and the Rottweilers and the Doberman Pinschers, you know, that animals like that, even though they're domesticated, some breeds of dogs will turn on you. You know, and people keep, you know, oh no, pit bulls are cool, I want to own one. Then you get your hand bit off, and you go, oh yeah, my dog bit my hand off, I can't believe it. Well, believe it. If you own a bear, chances are you're going to get mauled by a bear. If you own a, you know, a 20-foot boa constrictor, chances are you're going to wake up one morning with all the life squeezed out of you. And, and be dead. But I guess in that case, you probably just wouldn't wake up. And if you're lucky, it happens at night. But now, chimps aren't pets. And this one was like an old washed-up TV star or something. He'd been in commercials and in other circus-type events. I mean, I don't know.
Now, is he the bear or the chimp that was on BJ and the Bear?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
No, this chimp's name was Travis.
Travis.
Yeah, Travis the chimp. But it was a weird story. That was on my green card with the great stuff on it. Because, I mean, it's stupid. Really. You don't own wild animals. Chimps are wild animals. You just don't do it.
No, dude, she had a diaper on it.
Apparently, you have to put diapers on chimps. Everywhere you go, every chimp I've ever seen out in the world has diapers. Apparently, you can't potty train them. You cannot teach a chimp that when you're walking down the street, he tugs you, points to his thing, and nods or something, so that you have to take him into the bathroom. See, because chimps can't talk. That's the important thing. They can't talk. They can't say, I have to go to the bathroom. Which way to the bathroom? Chimps just grunt. People don't understand, and the chimp pisses all over everybody. But that's the way it works. I mean, I've seen it, and they throw their poop. I mean, I would kick my kid out of the house if they threw poop. I don't know. It's weird. All right. I don't have a regular clock out here. Meanwhile. Okay. I did the meanwhile already, right? Okay. Yeah, we better get into crew call. Because we do have Greg on the cameras. This being a Thursday night when City Council is filming Jim's over at City Council meeting. We are short one Andrea. And all alone in the booth is Bruce.
All alone in the booth is Bruce.
Sorry, man.
That's all right, man. We can handle it. We got everything going on. Computer hadn't fallen asleep yet, so that's pretty cool. But finally, the racing season has begun. Awesome deal.
Yeah.
Daytona 500. It was not a bad race, not a great race. It was shortened by 48 laps.
It got a little wet.
It ended up getting a little bit wet, and the rains came, and it would have taken longer to dry the track than I guess the television sponsors were willing to commit to television broadcasting. But they called the race with 48 laps to go, and y'all bear with me because I'm getting old. I can't see for crap. Matt Kenseth ended up with the win for the Daytona 500. It was his first Daytona 500 victory, and I believe it was the first for Roush Racing. But Kevin Harvick, given a little bit more time, he might have got up there, but he finished second. A.J. Allmendinger driving for Petty Motorsports, recently merged with Evernham Motorsports to form Petty Motorsports, but he drove the 44 to a third-place finish. Clint Boyer in fourth, and Elliott Sadler finished out the top five. David Reagan with a good run. Michael Waltrip in seventh. Awesome run for him. So right out of the gate, he's at least showing something, which is encouraging. I like to watch Michael do well. Tony Stewart with his first run out of the gate in his new team, driving the number 14 Office Depot. He finished eighth, and Reed Sorensen and Kurt Busch finished out the top 10. Andrea's pick and the pole starter, Martin Truex, ended up finishing 11th. But there toward the end of the race, there was a little bit of a melee. Junior had a heck of a good run coming on the inside of Brian Vickers up toward the front, and Vickers chased him down to the grass. They both went underneath the yellow line, and coming back up on the track, Junior ended up getting into Vickers, and it weren't pretty after that. I kind of had mixed emotions because I really hated to see Junior involved in a wreck like that. but it took two of them to wreck. I mean, Vickers had to take some responsibility for it because he got in his car and got on the track. But as it may, there were only a few guys that ended up not finishing the race, and I won't even go into those. The only news that really came out of this past week was out of the trucks. Ron Hornaday in a number 33 truck got busted for an unapproved shock, apparently after the race, and he was docked 25 points, both driver and owner points, and crew chief was fined 5,000. So apparently the fines are a lot less stiff in the nationwide, or in the, what the hell's it called this year? The Camping World Truck Series. So Craftsman's no longer the primary sponsor. They're the Camping World Truck Series, the nationwide NASCAR series for the what used to be the Busch guys, and now we're still doing the Sprint Cup guys for the big guys. But anyway,
Right.
beside the snow that we got earlier this week on Wednesday, actually made Thursday's trip into work pretty sloppy. It was nasty, but it was mostly gone by the end of the day. Hasn't been a bad week, so other than Andrea feeling like crap, she's at home dealing with a lot of chest congestion and just feeling crappy.
It's that time of the year where it's
She
like
got
in
run over.
between.
I hope she don't give it to me. I got to go to work, man. I've already goofed off too many days this year, and it's only halfway through February, so
Yeah.
I got to hang on to a few. But we're going to give it back to you, bud. We'll talk to you a little later, and if you come up with something good, I might throw something back at you sometime during the show. But
All right. Thank you, Bruce. Speaking of unapproved shock, there's a town in New Jersey, the town of West New York, New Jersey. They just raised their taxes 27%. Imagine that. What do you think would happen if city council tonight, the mayor stood up and went, I'm raising taxes 27%. There would be no residents of Keene.
he might turn up missing.
That's all I can think of is this poor little town in New Jersey gonna have no people living in it. Raise taxes 27%, and if just, half the town leaves, they're not accomplishing anything. But that was weird. I didn't think they could just do that without like a major vote from everybody. I thought that had to be.
Don't they got to get like Congress approval for a jump that big or something like that?
I don't know. Apparently not. They just have to be named, have the words New York in their town name, and they get more expensive.
I was kind of bumming when I ended up going out on the road this morning. We left our house and we headed down Court Street and couldn't even get past Paul's because they hadn't been out to plow the roads. There was a tractor-trailer truck that was trying to get up Court Street but just made it past the bridge, and once he was getting on that hill, he went sideways, blocked both lanes of traffic.
Nice.
I couldn't go that way, so I had to take her up the highway, get her to work that way to drive back to the center of town, and then go all the way back the other way to get to work myself. But I can't believe that Keene is unwilling to get out and maintain these roads with the taxes that they are charging everybody. For Christ's sakes, what are they doing for that money?
Yeah, well, they've got a crack parking enforcement team, let me tell you. Yeah, I'm not lying either, because I came to work the other day, like Tuesday I think it was, and my hours are 12 to 9. So I get here at noon, pull into the back of the spot where Cheshire TV owns 2 parking spots. Lee is parked in one, and some other Nimrod is parked in my spot. So, what did I do? I was nice. I didn't block the guy in. I didn't call the cops and say, come have this guy towed, which we probably should have done. I parked in the very next spot, which is a metered spot. But me being a retard like I am, I figured that, the meter lady who sees my car parked out there every single day with the little orange tag on the mirror saying that I've got paid parking here, gave me a ticket. I happened to go out for a cigarette. She was over on the other side of the building, between the library and our building, passing out tickets there. And I said, oh, I better check and see if my spot's empty so I can move over. Because I don't like parking at a meter when I've got a spot that Cheshire TV's already paid for. You know? But it seems somebody's, you know, it's people that don't want to spend a damn quarter. You know, it's unreal. Meanwhile, they'll just look at the TV and go, oh, the president's got 16 cars in his motorcade. You know, and not bitch that he's paying taxes for all them cars to go up there to Canada. You know? All he knows is if there's a spot that's open that doesn't have a parking meter, he's going to park there. I don't know.
Have them towed.
Well, you know, but I mean that ends up costing the city even more. Well, because it costs to have a record come out. Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, if the guy can't afford to put a quarter in the meter, he's not going to be able to pay $50 to get his car out of impound. No, he'll be parked in impound. Where was I going with that story anyway? What the hell was I talking about? Oh, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, that town in New York, big taxes, or in New Jersey. Now we'll go back to the gray card. Gray card's got the government stuff on it because the government's kind of a gray area these days. And while our first black president is up traipsing around Canada, our first black attorney general, I'm not sure what his first name is. His last name is Holder, though. I believe it's William Holder. It's not Bubba. But it's Attorney General Holder who's been all over the news because he made a statement saying that we as a nation we are a nation of cowards when it comes to race relations and discussions about race. And you know, he's kind of right. I mean, if you look around, and it's not just race, it's of course ethnic is race, but not really, right? You know, I mean, you come to find that there are Italian neighborhoods, and there are Jewish neighborhoods, and there are black neighborhoods, and people tend to form their friendships, you know, in certain circles, and we basically self-segregate ourselves. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because a lot of the times, if white people know black people, they have nothing in common. You know? I mean, but you're more likely to see blacks hanging with blacks and whites hanging with blacks and Jewish people hanging with Jewish people, Arabs with Arabs, just because that's always the way it's been. And
We shouldn't be afraid to break the pattern. I mean, I've got plenty of friends of other ethnic backgrounds, so you know, I ain't scared to talk to people.
Well, no, but this is true. But the thing is a lot of people feel that, you know, if you start a discussion about race, immediately, if I start a discussion about race, it's, oh my God, did you hear what Rick said on TV? What a racist. You know? And it's dumb. I mean, I was going to do some like visual aids. You know? I was going to have two happy faces. You know? One yellow and one blue. Hold them up. And they're two happy faces.
Walmart.
You know, it's basically Walmart, yeah. other than the difference in color. Two identical things. And that's the same way with humans. Other than color. Black people and white people are no different. The hair's different, yeah. Yeah, the hair's a little different. I don't know. But we're all people. And that's, that's what we have spent so long separating ourselves from each other that we will never get back to being just people. Ever again. It will always be, and we perpetuate it. We perpetuate it by things like this. February is Black History Month. That's right, because apparently the only history in black history must have happened in February. I find that hard to believe. I don't think any black history actually happened in February because the stereotype says that black people don't like the cold. That's right. So how could any black history, how could black people do anything in February? It's too cold. I don't know. But it's dumb. And we have to, for Christ's sakes, white people are still apologizing for slavery. We've had nothing to do with slavery for 200 years.
Is there a White History Month?
I'm wondering when they're going to have Gay History Month. That's what if you're going to have Black History Month and Women's History Month and, Jewish History Month, you got to cover everything. Covered Gay History Month, Chimp History Month, let's have, the Mentally Retarded History Month. Because some mentally retarded people have done some brilliant things, I'm pretty sure. But oh no, we don't have a retard month. Retard History Month.
It's mentally challenged.
Mentally challenged. Some of the worst retards aren't mentally challenged. They're here. There's so much of a genius, that the common part of their brain's pretty much slush. Like that, what was that, A Beautiful Mind? Was that the movie? About John Nash? Guy was such a genius. But everybody looked at him like he's a retard because he wasn't like everybody else. He had quirks. But, yeah. So anyway, we're all cowards because we're afraid to talk about race relations and I don't think we need any relations at all. I just think you need to treat everybody the same way. And you don't say we have our first black president. You say, our, 42nd president's been elected or whatever, 44th president, whatever the hell number he is. But you just say, we have a new president. Ta-da! We. But that's what it is. You don't go, oh, we've got a black president, because why does that matter? Hopefully we've got a smart president.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can say. We've got a new president, I hope he's smart. You don't go, we got a new president, I hope he's white. You go, he's a new president, I hope he's smart. Because he's got a lot of problems to deal with. But it's dumb. And I know, I've screamed about it since I started the show. About how the tolerance. Be tolerant. Accept diversity. Yes, we have black people, we have Chinese people, we have Japanese people, we have gay people, we have, all different types of people. Diversity. And that's what makes the world so great. And we just have to, when you look in the mirror every morning, don't look in the mirror and go, I'm better than everybody. Look in the mirror and go, I'm exactly the same as everybody. That, you think that's a cheerful thought, Bruce? Why not do that? You can't look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm a great person, but I'm the same as everybody else. Which just means that everybody,
Okay. You gotta use both.
I'm just as good as everybody else.
just as good.
Sometimes better. At certain
Sometimes,
things.
and sometimes worse. All right. So I think I beat the Attorney General Holder to death for his crackpot comment. And that's what a lot of people are saying, you know, how can he say that? But when you really think about it, it's kind of true. All right. I guess, yeah, let's play some music, because it's about time, and I've got a new opening graphic for the music. This week on the Mom's Tattoo musical interlude is Shadwell.
Unfiltered crying eyes, emotion and reason collide. Ex-uncle's girlfriend, corrupted. Fears your house savior. Honest be that hand, but treason be that game. I am an American witness to a crime killers home. Lost in unconditional access, compass lost all alone. Numbing distracted, you're snoozing, and the TV's always on. Ambition and comfort collide. Selfless birthright, corrupted. Fears your house savior. Honest be that hand, but treason be that name. I am an American witness to a crime killers home. Lost in unconditional access, lost all alone. So man's minutes, his faces, city's taking the castle. So you better pick up the hand. This is our last song. You guys have been really great. Thank you very much.
Please stop by the merch table over here with Nice Christie. Come sign our mailing list. Check out our t-shirts and CDs. Thanks a lot.
I am an American witness, lost in unconditional access. It's lost all alone. I am an American witness to a crime killers home. Lost in unconditional access. It's lost all alone. You've been great. You've been great. And we've been.
All right. Shadwell. I'm getting to that point again where it seems like I'm having a hard time figuring out which songs I've used or which songs I haven't used already. So, you know, we may get to repeating some of the songs from some of the bands. More good stuff. No, let's go. No more good stuff. Well, I got one more good story. I'll save it for later because let's talk a little bit about the economy this week because it's not too good. And everybody's making, you know, talking about the stimulus plan and how great it is and how there's no pork in it. And from what I understand, it was approved last Thursday or Friday, I believe, but it was written like the day before, or it was given to everybody the day before. It's 1,000 pages long. You can't tell me that all them people in government have read the entire thing and that there's nothing in there that's kind of funky. Because I found a couple things on the news today. I saw one crawl that went across the bottom said that I think it was $1.2 billion will go to homeless prevention programs. Can somebody explain to me what a homeless prevention program is? Other than, you know, just telling people, don't move out of your home. You know, have counseling. Oh, I've been thinking about being homeless, but I haven't quite made the step yet. I don't think homeless is something that you can just, you know, stop from happening. Because people are homeless for all different reasons. I don't know. But 1.2 something billion dollars, it was a billion with a B, going, and at first the thing just said homeless programs. They said 1.2 will go to the homeless. And the next crawl that came by said it will be going to homeless prevention programs. I don't know if that means $1.2 billion, they're going to go around and go, oh, you're homeless? Here, we're going to buy you a house. I don't think that's going to work because even the people that are having trouble paying for their houses, the stimulus and bailout isn't going to help all of them. So some of them will probably be homeless, in which case part of that $1.2 billion will maybe help. I don't know. They're pissing away our money. Meanwhile, the president's got 16 cars in Canada. You know? Yeah, you know the president burns high test. President don't burn no regular 87 octane. Yeah. But actually, in between the two stimulus areas, I'll go to this one because I thought this was a pretty hard fact to take. But it also kind of enforces my theory that the bad economy is actually a good thing for businesses. Get this. Half of all Americans, this is a new study, half of all Americans admit to being afraid of losing their jobs. Oh yeah. Gone are the days when you hear people go, well, I ain't afraid of losing my job. Everybody's afraid. And, you know, it's easy to be afraid. Last week, 627,000 new unemployment claims. Last week. That's over 500,000. That brings the total people claiming unemployment benefits to around 5 million people in the country. And this is people that are unemployed and filing for unemployment. Now you can take half that number again for people who are unemployed and not even filing unemployment. You know, people that just either don't want to go through the hassle or just absolutely know that it's not going to do them any good, they're not going to get any benefits, or something because you pissed on your boss's desk or whatever and you got fired, so they won't pay you unemployment for that. Because the company actually had a reason to fire you. You know, people like that. So you're looking at the number of unemployed people in the United States is probably closer to 8 or 9 million than 5 million. And this is good for dudes like me. Guys that go to work and work. Guys that go to work and pay attention and take pride in their work and work hard. Because when the company comes down and goes, you know, we've got to cut 50 people, which ones go? You think they're going to take their hardest working guy and fire him? Nope. They're probably going to start clearing from the upper middle. The people that are drawing the huge paychecks and, you know, well, I've been in this company 15 years and on the floor for 10 and I deserve to relax a little bit. Guess what? You can relax at home. And that's the way companies will do things. You know, when a company's got to cut back, they're not going to cut back their best workers. They're going to cut back their worst workers. Trim the fat, as the butcher says. You don't throw out the good shit. You throw out the rotted stuff around the side. The lazy stuff. The guys that are doing nothing but draining your money out of your business. But I heard that even after the bank bailout, these friggin' guys still paid ungodly huge bonuses to people that don't do shit. And now, oh my God, the banking industry needs another bailout? They need more money? I don't get it. I don't get it. And the government just goes, oh yeah, because banks are important. You know, it's not like people could ever save money without banks. That's why mattresses were invented. Why people don't sleep on straw anymore. People went from straw, once they started making money, they went, geez, we need a place to put all this money. We can't just, you know, bury it in the straw. So we need a, you know, we'll make a mattress. We'll put straw inside a cover. We'll sew it all up. That way you can put the money in. Hide your money. Oh, it's funny. I saw a little news story about these two guys. They work for a hotel somewhere or something. And they go by, the damn news stories go by so fast, and they don't tell you crap about them, really. But two guys received a $250 billion tip from some foreigners. And I'm trying to think of where it was, Zimbabwe, I think. Something like that. $250 billion for a tip. But anyway, this currency, they realized, and I'm pretty sure it was Zimbabwe. Inflation in Zimbabwe is like 200 billion%. So the money that these dudes got that they thought they were super rich amounted to like 37 cents or some crap. Here's your tip. You know, 250 billion Zimbabwe dollars. And a goose. Woohoo! $8 for a goose. All right. 9 minutes? All right. Let me get into this. Part of the stimulus bill I saw today. $19.2 billion is going to go to digitizing medical records. Now tell me how the hell does that boost the economy? And they said that doctors could receive between $40,000 and $65,000 if they use these electronic health technologies. Part of that stimulus money will go to the doctors. Apparently they don't make enough now. And patient-doctor confidentiality, they believe, would be way more secure on a computer that anybody can hack into. This is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. You know, the military's got it right. Anytime you're going from one place to another place in the military, part of your little routine is you stop at the hospital, the base hospital, you collect your medical records, you carry them to your next duty station, and you go into the hospital there and goes, hey, I'm living here now, here's my hospital records. But if you went, say, to Keene Hospital, and you said, I'm moving out of the area, I would like my medical records, they probably wouldn't give them to you. See, it's the whole patient-doctor confidentiality thing. You're not supposed to see that. I got yelled at one time because I was waiting for the doctor and they had left my file in the room and I was looking at it. Apparently they don't want you to look at your files because they may have, and of course the whole point is that it makes it easier, you know, hospitals can, you know, just like watching us on the internet. If you know, you get hurt in Hawaii, you go into the doctor's office and you give him your name and your social security number or whatever, and boo, 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 he punches up and he can get you all your health records. But so can Joe Blow on the corner, you know, with his hacker's license or whatever. You know, it's stupid. Computers.
How about the doctors with the phony PhDs?
The doctors, yeah. I want to get one of those. I would like to get an honorary doctorate somewhere. I've been told I wasn't that honorable, though. let's a couple of things today on TV shot me right back into the past. It was unbelievable. Regis and Kelly this morning had the new kids on the block. And, well, that's what I was trying to figure out, because when they introduced them, they said that the original band formed 25 years ago. And I went, 25 years ago? Well, they ain't so much kids anymore, are they? And they came out on stage, they did their little, you know, everybody did the same move, you know. When the middle guy went this way, all the other guys went this way. Then they went this way, then they went this way, like that. And, you know, a couple leg things in there, which you can't see because it's under my desk. But I was thinking, you know, they look just like old gay guys on the block at this point. And they were asking them what they've been up to. And every single one of them, except one, said they'd been doing solo stuff or they'd been, you know, somehow still in the music business. Donnie Wahlberg, though, he said he'd been working on singing and acting and stuff. But they got to the one end guy and they said, well, what have you been doing? And he said, construction. Yeah. And I mean, that's not surprising because I heard something one time, they were talking, I can't remember if I was listening to a country radio station or something, but a lot of singers, and I don't know if this is in general or if just a lot of country singers, but a lot of them you find come out of the construction trades. Like Toby Keith, I think, was a carpenter or something, and Travis Tritt and who's the other tall guy? Trace Adkins. They were all construction workers before they became singers. See, where most actors come out of the, like, you know, waiters, hostesses, waitresses, you know, bartenders. But anyway, New Kids on the Block, 25 years they've been around. It's unbelievable. The other thing that took me back into the past, which I thought, you know, seeing commercials like this may turn the economy around. Because this was a commercial for Kmart layaway. Layaway is not something you hear about anymore. Now you hear, if you want something and you can't afford to pay for it, you buy it on credit. Layaway is like poor man credit, is what it is. Because you would basically buy something, say a $300 TV, for $10. And they would take the TV and put it in the back with your name on it. And then every week you would come in and you would pay a little on that TV. And when you got it paid for, they gave it to you, because then you owned it. And they didn't have people who would, you know, only pay half and then stop making the payments and get their credit bad, because they weren't hurting anybody but themselves. That's what maybe we need to do. Get rid of credit cards. Don't have credit, have layaway. If somebody wants something and they can't afford to pay for it all, well, the store should just hold it. Right? See how
Kind
that
of
works?
hard to get a car that way, though.
It is kind of hard to get a car that way. But then again, well, no, I mean, because, you know, it's cars, houses, things like that. You're going to have to. But, you know, don't go into Kmart because, you know, you've got 3 TVs and you need a 4th and put it on your credit card. That's just hurting the economy. If you need a 4th TV and you can't afford to buy it all at once, make the installments and then take it home. That way, by the time you get it paid off, it still works. Because these days, if you haven't had a chance to catch, what's the name of the show? The Story of Stuff on Cheshire TV. Check it out. It's 20 minutes. It tells you the cycle of things, and it talks about planned obsolescence and perceived obsolescence. And these companies that make these products know exactly when they're going to stop working. And they know exactly how long they've got
1 minute.
before you will lose faith in their company. You know, they know exactly when to break it. They go, well, let's see, if our product only lasts 6 months, you know, somebody may come back and buy a second one, but when that one lasts 6 months, they're done. But if we make something last 8 or 9, 10 months, that's just long enough so that people won't, you know, won't. Oh, I lost it. Up next on No Spin is Democratic Congressman Paul Hodes. He spent an hour with Chris and Randy, did a fantastic job. Great show. Talked about the stimulus package, things going on in Washington. I want to thank my crew, thank Mom's Tattoo, Gemini Screen Print. Until next week, peace.